Diversity, it might be what's holding your team back, and you may not know it yet and may not know how to solve it. For that reason, I'm really excited to tell you that Data Futurology has established a partnership with She Loves Data, and we're doing a series dedicated on improving diversity in your organization, in your teams, in your workplace, so you can get the most value out of your teams, out of your data, and create products that the market really wants. Tune in every week as we speak with executives and female leaders from all over the world on how they have targeted and improved the diversity on their teams, and you can find out what we can learn from them.
We are thrilled as a She Loves Data to be part of the Data Futurology podcast, where we will showcase some female leaders, but the leaders from tech industry, and we will be talking about strategies, about data, about biases, and about diversity. Join us.
I wanted to say a big thank you to our sponsors. One of our sponsors is Shine Solutions Group. Shine Solution Group is a technology consultancy that has been empowering their enterprise and government partners with pragmatic technology solutions for over 20 years. Learn more at shinesolutions.com. Also, a big thank you to SAS, giving you the power to know. Through innovative software and services, SAS empowers and inspires data advocates around the world to transform data into intelligence. Committed to diversity, did you know about the Women in Analytics Network that they have? It's a SAS-sponsored networking program aimed to strengthen diversity in the analytics field. Check it out in the show notes below. They're definitely committed to it as they're helping us with this diversity series too. I also would like to tell you about Growing Data. Growing Data is a consultancy that helps organizations unlock the full potential of their data. They work with some of Australia's most successful organizations from finance. They work with people like ANZ Bank, through to biotechnology, companies like CSL, and all the way to construction, working with companies like Metrocon. They help these and many more companies solve their most challenging data-related problems in analytics, machine learning, data engineering, and data governance. While I was at ANZ Bank, I got the pleasure to work with the team at Growing Data, and I can tell you for a fact they are top-notch. I highly recommend Growing Data. Find out more at growingdata.com.au. Also, a big thank you to Talent Insights. Talent Insights are Australia's leading data specialist recruitment business. They are experts in recruitment strategy and delivery for analytics and data teams. They are the go-to recruitment business for all your data roles in Australia, and they can help both with permanent hires and short-term project-focused data resources. I've used Talent Insights in the past, and I've always found them fantastic to work with. Visit them at talentinsights.com.au. Hi, this is Felipe Flores. Welcome to another episode of Data Futurology. We are in our diversity series. We are currently focusing on bringing you a series called She Leads. This is in partnership with She Loves Data, and every week we are speaking to very experienced executives in the data analytics space about their journey and what is happening in the industry. Today, my co-host from She Loves Data is Jana, Marlé, Zizkova. Jana, thank you so much. How are you doing today?
I'm excited. This is such a good conversations we are going to have. So it's fantastic. Thank you.
Amazing. And our guest today, we have Choo, who is the Managing Director, Group Head of Consumer Banking and Big Data /AI in DBS Bank, based in Singapore. Choo, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you in the show. And we also have Terisa Roberts, who is the Director, Global Lead for Risk Modeling and Decisioning at SAS. Terisa, thank you so much for being on the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Felipe. My pleasure to be with you. And I'm good, thank you.
That is fantastic. So to kick off the show, I'll ask you both about your origin story and how you got involved into the world of data and AI. I'll ask you first, Choo, what was your journey like, and how did you first come into this space?
Mm-hmm. So I've been part of banking all of my career. So being part of banking, data has always been part and parcel of our business, actually. Banking is essentially a data business. In late 2017, DBS started an ambitious journey to become a data-driven company. I was given the mandate to drive the technology build up. At that point in time, actually, we went out of our way to look at the state-of-the-art data and AI technology amongst the leading-edge company, especially the tech companies. Actually, we traveled to the USA, China, and so on to look at what is out there. And after that, actually, we created a technology blueprint to look at how we can really democratize the use of data and AI at the bank across the board. We concluded that actually we needed to create a self-service data and AI platform. Actually, this has been quite an ambitious vision, looking back where we started, because it is a first of its kind at DBS, a truly self-service platform that can be leveraged on its own by all the lines of businesses and the support units. And I would say that 3 years into the journey, it has been a very, very fulfilling journey. It has not been easy because of the fact that it's a trailblazer and it's the first of its kind in banking. We have to do a lot of education to educate everybody about how to do data and AI at scale, changing the practice, the architecture, and the operating model. We actually named the platform Ada after Ada Lovelace. All of you know that Ada is the first programmer in the world and she's a female. And actually, Ada stands for Advancing DBS with AI. So today, this platform is used by more than 2,000 data scientists and data engineers, ML engineers across the banks.
Wow.
And it runs many of our ML use cases that is responsible for creating a hyper-personalized experience for our client across the consumer bank and institutional bank. Managing the cash availabilities of our ATM to make sure that our ATM never run out of cash. So we use ML to predict how much money, what kind of denomination we should be putting in all the ATMs we have in all our network. It is also used to create a smart intervention by our call center. So when our client make a call to our call center people already have some sort of idea what you are possibly calling us about. And that is using ML as well. And lastly, end of last year, we introduced what we call intelligent banking. That is essentially a financial concierge to our customer to help you to make your financial management much more seamless, to remind you about bills you have to pay, the budgeting for your spend and so on and so forth. So we call it intelligent banking. So all of these use cases actually run on top of the Ada platform. That was my journey in data and AI in the last 4 years.
That is incredible. Definitely, I'll be asking you a lot more about that because it's a fantastic initiative and definitely trailblazing, not only in the bank but in the industry. That is definitely very forward-thinking work that you guys are doing. And Terisa, tell us a little bit about your journey, your origin story, and how you got here today.
Sure. Yeah, so as a young girl growing up in South Africa, I was fascinated by patterns. And yes, I had opportunity to study computer science and quantitative risk management, and later finished my master's degree and also my doctorate in a field called data mining, which is all about identifying hidden patterns in data. So now fast forward to today, where we see the benefit of using new technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning in a wide range of applications, as Siew has alluded to. In credit scoring, it is showing us great transformational potential to expand financial services, potentially to pockets in society that might not have had access to credit in the past.
I understand, Terisa, that you wrote a guidance paper for World Bank on use of machine learning and AI for credit scoring and studying math and then informatics. How did you actually end up in the field of risk management? What was the turning point?
Yeah, so I really liked risk, and of course with the massive growth in data and compute power, that fitted very nicely with my background in maths. So in terms of risk, I worked for a bank in London, where we did a lot of quantitative risk management, and when I joined SAS, that was the right place for me.
Where was that, Terisa? Because I used to work for SAS as well, and I think we overlapped somewhere. And the
Yes.
data in the times when data mining, was the word for data science.
Yes, those good old days. That was, let me think, it was around 2003 to around 2012 that,
I was there
Yes.
at that time back in Europe. Exciting journey with SAS, I have to say. Siew, I wanted to ask you, because DBS is so well known for the innovation, and you just talked about that. How did you actually, and you are head of innovation for DBS, how do you maintain the culture of innovation and this almost like a startup mentality, introducing so many new technologies? Banking is traditional industry, and bringing such an innovation to quite classical, organizational systems. What does it mean? And how do you lead the innovation in a bank?
So actually, our previous head of innovation, Neil Cross, when I first met him many years ago, he said he does not hire any technologies in his team. He does not believe that innovation is technology. I fully agree with that. And actually, that's part and parcel of the mindset of innovation at DBS. Use of technology is not equal to innovation. And innovation is also not a special day or a special department. So, we have a small innovation team at DBS, but they believe that their job is not to innovate. Their job is to help other people across the bank to innovate. We believe in letting, we have 28,000 people now. Our CEO said we believe in letting the 28,000 flowers bloom, right? So the enablement by the bank is huge, actually. We provide the resources to enable everyone to be able to innovate by empowering the individuals and the team to be their most curious and creative every single day. That is the essence of our innovation strategy, how we go about ensuring innovation is pervasive at the bank. And through the behavior enablers, the artifacts, and also the nudges, we want to unleash the natural innovator inside everybody. We want to instill the passion for innovation in all our employees, whether you are a teller at a bank, you are a developer, or you are the head of the business. So it goes from the top to the bottom of the organization. Everyone from our CEO all the way down exemplifies innovation in their thinking and the way they go about their work. So it's really part of and parcel of how we go about solving the problem we have to solve every single day. People ask us, how we innovate. To me, actually, every single problem we are given to resolve, we must think about how we can actually do it in the most innovative way, to actually leapfrog and to actually do a exponential change and create a massive impact rather than do it in the incremental way. How we go about that. So this is, I think the fact that we have the culture pervasive from the top to the bottom is how we can make a normal organization like DBS to do extraordinary things that we have been able to do in the last couple of years in our journey to become a digital bank.
It's very impressive, because I remember your initiative where you were teaching about 2,000 or thousands of people, programming and coding. I think it was last year. And now you are focusing on, testing a different technology. So, there is when I hear DBS, I always have it linked to, new technologies, innovation. So you've been doing a really great job.
Thank you.
And I wanted to ask as a follow-up, in terms of when the innovation team works with the rest of the bank, how to help them be more innovative and bring these innovations to life. What does that look like in terms of what people can change, or what people do change, and if you have some examples, and also if you have any thoughts on how the knowledge can be shared, because in times when I've seen innovation initiatives, a lot of new knowledge is being gained within the organization. But sometimes, at least in what I've seen in the past, sometimes it's difficult to get that knowledge to be spread out, so other people in different parts of the organization can leverage the new learnings from other areas. Have you seen this, and how is it that different parts of the bank can bring innovations to life in their areas?
Actually, I think the journey at DBS is quite systematic. I think we introduce a common language amongst everybody in the bank. The common language and practice is quite important. So, we are all referring to the same thing when we are referring to this word. And, the common practice makes sure that actually you go down a kind of so-called semi-guided path, right? In terms of how you go about solving your problem. So those were the key enabler. And because of the common language, there is a lot of sharing in different departments when certain things are being done. The transfer of ideas can be there because of the common knowledge and common practice.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And I've got a question for both of you, and I'll ask Terisa first, actually. Around a lot of studies have established that diversity fuels innovation. And I was wondering, do you have any examples that you could share around how the impact of diversity in innovation in different organizations or experiences that you've seen?
Sure. Yes, sure, Felipe. I'm not sure if you've read a recent study by Deloitte, who has actually mentioned that firms that invest in diversity and innovation has 8 times more likelihood of achieving their business outcomes. So diversity and innovation, these are definitely competitive advantages for many firms. In risk management, we particularly look at the impact of algorithms that we are using in our society today quite extensively, and especially in risk, and how these algorithms can bias or discriminate against pockets of society. And that kind of issue or challenge that we need to solve with the algorithms is best given to a team that is diverse, so that they can identify these biases and also remediate these. I think a good example of that is a credit card company in the US who has consistently discriminated against female applicants, giving them lower credit limits. And it's just because of historical biases that were present in the training data that the algorithms learned from, that was perpetuated. So a diverse team would have been able to stop that bias from becoming operational in the way decisions are made within that firm.
Actually, that one I was thinking that actually you have to introduce bias to unbias your algorithm because the algorithm has been trained by biased data.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was crazy to see in the example that credit card company in the US where they were offering men 20 times the credit limit than the woman when they had the same exact application, the exact same finances. The man was getting 20 times the credit limit. Crazy. So definitely one where diversity can help. Thank you, Terisa. How about in your case, Choo? Have you seen examples where diversity is helping fuel innovation?
Definitely. Actually, I've been quite fortunate because throughout my career, I have always worked in very diverse team. I have, I think there are different type of diversity, and working in different culture. I have been in Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, and of course, I spent a lot of time in an American company and American culture. I see diverse teams and diverse environment definitely encourages diverse idea and perspective, and it's through all of this diversity in ideas and perspective that you can create the best product and services. But having said that, I would say that it is always it's not easy to have a diverse team because if you have a lack of a commonality, you tend to have a lot of friction. That has been my experience in fact building team, because I have spent a lot of time building teams in my whole career, and a lot of times I actually make it a very big point to introduce quite a lot of diversity in the teams I build. So today my team is about 15 people. They come from 9 different countries, actually, at least.
Wow.
So to make them understand each other from the different background they have, whether from a cultural perspective, work experience perspective, is can sometimes be quite a challenge. But I would say that once you manage to go through that initial phase of storming, and you see that you will help you to get the best result if you have a very diverse group of people. And recently, actually, I read a Harvard's Business Review study, and it says that if at least one member of your team has traits that is in common with your end user, and these days we talk about digital transformation, the world is made up of 50-50 men, women, right? So if you don't have a 50% representation of women in your roles, I think you are at risk of creating a less than ideal experience in any of the product and services that you are building. So I think diversity really is good for business.
It is, isn't it? Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you for that. Terisa, I wanted to follow on your discussion about the algorithms before. And I know that in your work, you have moderated a series of webinars on AI and ML for the Global Association of Risk Management Professionals based in New York. This is incredible. So I do have to ask you about this. Can you tell us a bit more about how algorithms have become influential in society, and what is happening next in that space?
Yes, that's right, Felipe. I had the opportunity to interview a range of industry experts on the practical applications of AI and machine learning and in risk. And it's a rapidly evolving field. We see new innovations and techniques daily. And it's becoming such an intricate part of our society, not only in banking, but how we engage with services providers and even with each other, which means that we really need to be on top of the risks that these algorithms also contain. So we explored these topics in a series of webinars on GARP to educate, enable the industry to know more about what to look out for, and also to bring regulators on board so that these fairness and fair outcomes for everybody can be legislated. Yeah,
that's incredible. And I have to ask you this. I love the fact that you did your PhD in data mining. Did you think that it was going to become what it has become, and that it could get to this stage when you're in your PhD, like in the throes of the research, I guess, in the detail? Did you ever foresee that it could become this force, that this area could become the force that it has become?
No, I don't think any of us could foretell. We used to do statistics with pen and paper. I don't know if your esteemed audience will even know what those are. But yes, nowadays with the compute power we have at our fingertips, we used to code up our models, let the computer do do the work, and then go for a coffee. Come back half an hour later, fingers crossed there wasn't a bug in the code. Otherwise, you'll have to do it all again. So no, I don't think it's been possible to predict, even though we specialize in predictive modeling. And it's just growing, right? The amount of digital data that is currently available. So Choo and her team has done a phenomenal job over many years in digital transformation. I think many firms are now realizing how important that is.
Absolutely. That's amazing. I wanted to actually ask you a question because I remember when I used to work for SAS, I was one of the 3 female country managers out of 45, and this was about years ago. And I know there has been so many activities and so many initiatives to change the diversity ratio in the tech industry. What are your organizations doing? What is SAS doing? What is DBS doing today to help women in tech to grow into their careers? Because if I look back, diversity was not even a topic 15 years ago, but now we see so many initiatives, and that's great. So what are you doing, and how's the diversity in your organizations?
Choo.
I can start first. So I think for DBS, we are doing quite okay as a company. Although there are some more work to do from a woman in tech perspective. DBS was actually listed in the Bloomberg Gender Equality Index 3 years in a row, including this year, for being one of the banks who is committed to workplace gender equality. So we have a multi-pronged approach in supporting the gender diversity agenda in our bank. So I think we start with building the pipelines, right? The hiring and the outreach to the women is one of the key things. Last year, actually, we used a hackathon to recruit people. And this hackathon we have been running for 3 years. When we started to analyze the data, there were very few women who has joined us in the hackathon. And the first year we have only 5% applicant. Last year we changed the name of the hackathon to Hack to Hire Her from Hack to Hire. And we partnered with many of the communities of women to extend our outreach. And the result we got was fantastic. Actually, we grew the 5% to 30%. So you can see that if you put in some effort, you can get a big change in the result. Actually, end of this month, we are doing another virtual recruitment event for women in tech for more than 50 roles that we have in technology at DBS focusing on women. So that is another one. But the pipeline can only increase if we encourage that from the people at their young age. So earlier this year, before the COVID-19 come along, we conducted coding programs for primary school girls, and it was very, very well received. Teaching the primary kids, the girls, coding, and that actually helped to initiate a lot of interest and questions around how they can actually study and go into this particular area. Within the bank, I think building the awareness is a very important thing. So we start with a lot of speaker series. We invite companies and role models to talk to the people at the bank. So this speaker series is open up to everybody. This year we launched something we call Project Equalize. It actually comes from the slogan for the International Women's Day this year, Each for Equal. So Equalize refers to bringing the ally and each one to do something for bringing the gender equality agenda. So that we have recruited more than 100 allies across the bank to help us to champion the gender diversity agenda. Coupled with unconscious bias training that we have launched, and quite a lot of industry partnership that we are participating in. One example will be the Mentor Connect that IMDA is driving together with Dell. This is a cross-industry mentorship program for women in tech. So DBS is a part of this program as well. And I think finally creating a supportive environment for your female talent, that's key. And job sharing, part-time roles and so on. These are some of the key enabler to make sure that the environment is conducive for women.
Yeah, I think it's so important to actually start with the changing hiring procedures, exactly how you do that, and even changing the language for the roles that you are advertising for. I've heard that when you change the language, you can actually get, double the amount of the female candidates instead. So you've been doing a great job, and as well reaching out to communities like the She Loves Data community. We cooperating with you quite often. It's fantastic because there is a camp of diverse women trying to get jobs with very different experiences and different looking CVs, and you guys are enabling them to get those first jobs in a different industry in tech. How is it with SAS, Terisa?
Yes, thanks, Jana. SAS has always been a pioneer when it comes to diversity and inclusion. Our CEO, Dr. Jim Goodnight, has a quote to say, treat your employees as if they make a difference, and they will. So for women specifically, we have an internal Women's Initiatives Network that is a company of women. It's sponsored by SAS, but it's led by employees. And it creates a network for working women to invest and develop both their professional and their personal careers and their development. So I've personally benefited from this network. We've opened that up as well to as a Women in Analytics network that anybody can sign up to, and that has started in July of this year, and we already have 2,000 members that has joined that community. We had the NASA astronaut Christina Cook speak at one of our events recently. When it comes to female representation in the workforce, SAS is proud to be ahead of most of the technology companies, even the more progressive ones. We have more of a women representation across the levels of management that we have. Now, it's not just about women, right? There are several inclusion networks that SAS runs for people with disabilities, military veterans, folks, young professionals, very important to develop the skills from a young age. And our Black Initiatives network, also very active. They are going to broadcast and show the new documentary, Coded Bias, as part of their online community.
It's fantastic. I think I'm a big fan of Dr. Jim Goodnight. He is, was someone who I looked up to because he said as well about his employees, that his job as a CEO is to make sure that the workforce that walks out at 6 p.m. from the campus, that they return the next day. And this is fantastic. It's so true. One more question I have regarding diversity, because there is a lot of talk and initiatives, but how do we measure the impact? How do we actually can say that these initiatives are bringing in the profits and, innovation and better results for everyone? Do you have any examples from your organizations on the measurement or any ideas on that? I would love to hear that. Choo?
So I think, the representation across all roles, balanced representation is one of them, because as we know, the world is made up of 50-50 men and women from a percentage perspective. So, to get the, possible available talent pool, you have to spread out to the same level of representation. So, in all the roles, I think, we should aim for the ideal equilibrium will be 50-50, right? I think the other thing will be in terms of the pay parity. I think that is one of the key components that I think companies are focusing on these days as well. The pay parity, equal pay for equal job is another one. And finally, I would say that your client satisfaction, whether or not you are a relevant company, comes from whether you are able to cater for your client base, and your client base is made up of people that are diverse, and hence your workforce should be equally diverse if you want to make sure that your clients are represented.
It is so true. As organizations are turning from product-centric to customer-centric, the client satisfaction is actually as well a huge metric in this regard. It's very true. How about SAS?
Yes, so absolutely. As Choo was saying, if we are not measuring how we are doing and where we potentially have some growth areas, we can't really do much about it. So So definitely it needs to be measured, and improvement needs to be made. I think a big challenge at the moment is the talent pool. So developing the skills to have diverse teams across your organizational structure within your company. But to your point, Jana, it's absolutely a board level conversation, and progress need to be made at the right level, and not just about gender, but diverse backgrounds and skill sets. We recently had one of our models discriminating against young adults, just because we had a small population of that part in our training data. So yes, it's more than just the women. It's also the other inclusion groups.
That's so interesting to hear that as an example. That's great, and definitely leads me on to a follow-up question that I have for both of you around, with the rise of machine learning and AI, and companies developing their capabilities very quickly, and being able to leverage the software that's out there like SaaS. It's progressed really quickly. This field has progressed really quickly, and the applications have progressed really quickly. So I wanted to ask you, does it feel like it's done? Like, does it feel like we've explored everything that could be explored? And if not, what are some of the areas that have you personally excited about the work that's being done at the moment, or that you have coming up? So maybe I'll ask Choo first. Do you feel in this space, in the AI and ML applications, do you feel like we're done? And are there any particular areas that you might be working on, or that you see coming up, that are particularly exciting?
Oh, I think actually I'm very excited by the power that the AI and data is giving us now. Actually, I think we can use this to basically achieve gender equality. That is my hope. Actually, we are not done yet. I think the agenda just started in terms of the leverage of AI, especially in correcting the biases that is there. The awareness amongst companies on how to use AI for good, including all this good that we are talking about, is just at the starting phase. And hopefully, in the next couple of years, it will be pervasive, and it will be part of the DNA of every company.
Amazing. That's great. Terisa, how about from your perspective?
Yes, to echo that, I think we are seeing good progress in areas such as process automation and model accuracy. But to Suchu's point, we just scratching the surface. Computer vision, natural language processing, really bringing the human back into the technology. That is where the power of AI is. And yes, we often blame these algorithms for bias and for discriminating. But it's as Suchu was also mentioning, it's a great way to measure and identify discrimination, and then fix it, remediate it within the algorithm, and then you'll have a consistent way of decision making. So yes, the future looks very exciting.
That's fantastic. When we are talking about the future, would you share with our listeners advice from your perspective to all the leaders out there to drive the diversity-led innovation? What would be the one single advice, one sentence or keyword they should focus on from your perspective? Where did you see that diversity made the biggest impact in a leadership? Sichu.
I think to me, leadership by an example. Be the ally and advocate, and show the way. Bring along those who are hesitant along in this journey, and make them feel safe.
Ally. That's so true. And feeling safe. And I think as well, you mentioned it before, We need allies. We cannot talk about diversity just within a women or just within
Yes.
unified circles. So that's so important to talk about diversity with diverse groups. What about you, Terisa?
Yes, at SAS we have a saying, it's not about you fitting into the culture, it's about you adding to it. So we can be intentional in creating environments where our colleagues feel valued and secure and included, and be the ally. So if you manage to speak up and advocate for groups that might be underrepresented, I think that's a good way for anybody to get involved. And we see that opening up these new conversations, seeking out new perspectives from colleagues or from people outside of your organization, that can spark new ideas and create a catalyst for new innovations. So there's definitely benefit in seeking out and speaking up about these topics.
That's fantastic. I have one more question for you, because we might have people from the She Loves Data community listening in, and we have you as accomplished leaders. What would be your advice to women out there that are looking at their careers and thinking, what are the steps that they should take to have positions like yours? Terisa, let's start with you. What was your, a big career breakthrough, and what would you advise the future female leaders?
Sure, let me, and I've certainly not got the answers for all the questions, but after 20 years in the industry, what I would advise the younger generation is keep a open mindset, a growth mindset. So keep on learning. Don't expect that you will learn a bunch of skills and then for the rest of your career just apply that. Those days are over. So keep on learning, investing in yourself. And then as women, we have all these different roles to play. So ask for help. It takes a village. So get support with your family and with your own personal interests as well. So you are a balanced person.
Oh, I love that. Upskilling, learning, growth mindset, and asking for help. We often forget that. That's very true. Thank you, Terisa. What about you, Choo?
For me, actually, share with you guys one of my favorite icon. It is the fearless girl that has been created by State Street. That is right now standing in front of the New York Stock Exchange. Yeah. So my advice will be to be fearless, because I think typically women are more self-aware and perhaps less self-confident than men. So when you are coming up the ranks, you should be more confident and bolder in everything you think you can do, because if you believe you can, you can.
I love it.
That's amazing.
Perfect.
That is amazing. That is fantastic advice, and an amazing note to end on. So I want to thank you guys so very much for all your time, for sharing your insights, your perspectives. It's been fantastic. Jana, fantastic, great co-hosting with you as always. I'm loving the way that this series is taking shape. And Choo, Terisa, thank you so much for everything that you've shared and for helping to develop the future leaders that are coming up. Your thoughts and your perspectives are so important. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My pleasure.